let's bring this back to the 49ers, right? Because Grant is a 49ers beat reporter, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk to him about his favorite topic, something he's been unrelenting about discussing every single day this offseason, and that is Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan's feelings about Jimmy Garoppolo. And whether you're a Jimmy Garoppolo fan or whatever you think of Jimmy Garoppolo, that's not what I'm here to evaluate with this question, because you can have your opinion of him. The bottom line is there just seems to be a feeling of mistrust that any person with perception can see that Kyle Shanahan has, and a reservation per se with Jimmy Garoppolo. So for a guy with reservations and a guy with supposedly extremely strong convictions about how he feels about his quarterback, he's kind of played the fence, and everybody's given him that excuse of, one, Garoppolo's hurt, and two, Garoppolo isn't that good, Kyle. We understand. How would you feel, though, in this offseason when Kyle has a very easy out from this quarterback if he says, hey, I'm going to keep him as the starter just because I couldn't find anything better? Grant, I want you to take this one first.
This is going to be a total role reversal. I'm going to surprise you with my answer. I'm going to be pro Kyle on this one. I'm going to see it from Kyle's perspective. From Kyle's perspective, he didn't want Jimmy. He wanted Kirk Cousins. They were desperate at 1-10. They made that trade because things were getting bleak in Santa Clara. They needed some positivity midway through a 1-10 year. They got Jimmy Garoppolo. He had that meaningless 5-game stretch of wins, and the whole thing was taken out of Kyle's hands at that point. They were stuck with Jimmy. Maybe in retrospect, they could have gotten out of it. I wanted them to trade him, but as you guys say, it's very emotional. It's a very emotional time. People love Jimmy. So he was stuck with Jimmy. What was he going to do? Was he going to piss off? I mean, the entire locker room was sold. The entire fan base was sold. What was he going to do? Say, I don't like him? So they kept him. Got hurt. Look, the way I look at it is you could move off Jimmy, but if you start a rookie next year, you could have another losing season. And then now you're putting yourself on the hot seat. Now you got 4 losing seasons in 5 years. I wouldn't even want to tempt fate. So you got to draft a quarterback, but you don't want to start him next year. I mean, unless you just want to mess around with your job security, unless just you don't care. So now you're talking, okay, like we got to win next year. Jimmy might give us our best chance in the sense that he's a vet and he knows my system. We've been talking about Stafford's better, Matt Ryan's better. There are options. And if, I actually think that Kyle is going to figure out a way to get one of those things. But if he can't, and he says, like, ultimately, I need to keep Jimmy Garoppolo one more year because I don't want a rookie to start and I couldn't pull off the Stafford or Matt Ryan thing, I'd get it. I'd be disappointed because he should have had Brady at this point. He had any number of opportunities to get this right. But at this point, I kind of understand if he lets it go one more year. I would kind of get it, although I would hope that he'd find a way to get Stafford or Ryan or Rodgers.
All right, Blake, sending it over to you. How would you feel about this?
So with Grant's thinking, right, and here's my question to you guys before we go into this. Do you guys think Shanahan would be like fans would start turning on him a little bit if he did produce another losing season if they moved off of Jimmy?
Who knows?
Maybe.
As great as he's
it's very emotional. It's very emotional.
Like I feel people in the media and fans kind of would be like, maybe is Shanahan the problem? I don't think he is. I think Shanahan's really good, and I think he's great. And it may be because of vicious propaganda to me and, hyping up Shanahan all the time. And I do think he's really good and all. But I think there is that level of, like, somewhat security and stability.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Albert Einstein was brilliant. Was Albert Einstein a leader? No, absolutely not. He was in his room doing his thing. I'm just saying, like, would you want Albert Einstein to be, like, watching first graders at recess and keeping everyone in line? No, it would be ridiculous. I'm just saying it's two different skill sets, creativity, decision making. I have a feeling that Kyle Shanahan is a bad decision maker. You guys are young. You guys haven't realized that you basically are who you are by 25. You guys are still developing, but basically you are who I think it's an inherent trait, decision making, and I don't think he got it from his parents in the genes. You guys make very good decisions. I can already tell. You guys got it. But I think Kyle's going to be deficient. He is brilliant, though. Very, very, very smart guy. Brilliant.
So your thing is, you're kind of on the thing of, like, if he performs poorly again, you'd kind of think, like, is he the right guy? Is that where you're going with that? Or you'd question him more?
I've been questioning whether he's a head coach. I know he's a great offensive coordinator. Look, he is just brilliant in terms of play design and conceptualizing the next evolution of offensive football. He's the best at it. But
Look,
that's not being a head coach.
Let me jump in real quick here to answer that question. Because ultimately, if we do get to that point where the 49ers have a losing season, now we're projecting way ahead. But it comes to the point where even like the staunchest Shanahan supporter like me would have to give in somewhere and say, well, 4 losing seasons in five years, like that doesn't happen to the top level coaches. And we don't think he's Adam Gase. We think he's Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. And if you're thinking that, well, then as Bill Parcells once famously said, you are what your record says. And his record does not reflect the level of coaching he's done. So at some point, you can't sit here in good faith and not ask those questions.
That's right. Yeah. So a lot of say, I mean, he's not going to get fired if he has a losing season next year, but he would enter 2022 on the hot seat. I mean, he'd have to perform. So I just feel like would I be disappointed if he didn't move off Jimmy? Yeah. But at the same time, I'd kind of get it because he can justify it. He's like, well, I mean, the guy has a winning record. I got to win. No one's going to beat me up in the organization or in the media for trying one more time. I got to draft a quarterback anyway. Obviously, Matt Ryan's a better option. Stafford is too. But failing that, he's probably their best option, even though he's really expensive. Oh.
So let me answer this question now because I got a little different perspective from Grant. I would be very disappointed, and I'd be very disappointed in Kyle Shanahan, and this is why. One of the things I admire the most about Kyle Shanahan is that he has strong convictions as a person. He didn't let anybody tell him to study Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. He said, I have a plan. Kirk Cousins is my plan. I'm sticking to that plan. He doesn't let anybody tell him that he totally screwed up the Atlanta Super Bowl. He says, look at these plays. According to me, I made a mistake on these plays, but these other plays, you're wrong. I believe that I called that Super Bowl this way. And if you want to blame it on me, blame it on me. I'm going to believe that I did fine in it. Same way he feels about last year's Super Bowl. So we're talking about a guy who, it doesn't matter. He's very strong in his beliefs. And he's already shown to all of us. Like, everybody thinks Kyle's throwing his hands up in the air because it's cute. Look, he hates Jimmy. Look, Jimmy just missed a throw. Kyle just threw his hands up in the air. It's cute. No, it's not cute. It would not be cute if Mike Tomlin was doing that to Mason Rudolph. It would not be cute if Sean Payton was doing that to Taysom Hill. It's not something that I think Kyle should be credited for. It's actually something where you look at, I think with other coaches, the stigma would be, does he wear his emotions on his sleeves too much? Does a leader, like when Grant asked those questions about leadership, I don't agree with them. But I do see perspective because do leaders do those types of things in the middle of games? Like, what do teammates think about Jimmy Garoppolo at the time?
And it's not writing them off. I'm asking questions. We don't know enough. Right. I'm just asking questions.
So I'm providing analysis of where these questions come from, right? So there's that. And the other thing is the price tag is what doesn't make sense here to me. Like, I get the idea of keeping Garoppolo. I actually like Garoppolo. I think he's a solid player. I've liked what he is as a human being for the 49ers, and I've always wanted him to succeed. But at some point, you got to look at this price tag and just say, well, we can move off of him because he's not worth $27 million. Hey, let's get Andy Dalton. Let me draft my guy, and we're going to still win because of my coaching. His coaching got Robert Griffin from 4-6 to 10-6, and they went to the playoffs and turned Robert Griffin was a facade. He was never, like, no matter what, even if it was the injury, like, you don't drop off that much if you were never that level of player. And he certainly wasn't that level of player besides that rookie season. So ultimately, I think he's just got to believe in himself, believe in his coaching, and have conviction. Say, I don't like Jimmy. I'm not going to try this again with Jimmy. It hasn't really worked between me and Jimmy. Jimmy's a good player. Jimmy can go somewhere else and be a good player. I'm a great coach. I can be a great coach with another quarterback, and I'm going to work that way. It doesn't matter what the fans think because the results are going to happen on Sunday. And if I go 10-6 with Andy Dalton, if I go 12-4 with Matthew Stafford, if I go 10-6 with a rookie, nobody's going to care.
Well, hold on real quick. You guys like Trey Lance, right?
I like Trey Lance. Yes.
So say they draft Trey Lance with the 12th pick. He can't start.
I think he can.
Oh my God.
I mean, the 13 starts is questionable, but I think the perception of which guy can start. I mean, not saying you obviously because you have your own opinion.
Hold on. But not just because it's Trey Lance and he played in 1AA football and didn't play this year, but because we don't know what the offseason is going to be like. There's still a pandemic. We don't know if there's going to be OTAs or minicamp or preseason. It still could be hard to get a rookie up to speed. It still is a complex.
Then don't draft Trey Lance.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you could draft Trey Lance. Maybe he is the right guy, but I just feel like you'd want to sit him for a year anyway. It's a complex offense. It's Shanahan's offense. It's COVID-19. I mean, you kind of do want a veteran, and of course you want Stafford or Matt Ryan, but failing that, I get it. It's just he is really expensive, and if you bring him back, you're pretty much saying I'm not going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Okay, so two things. Let's just hit Lance real quick. Just two things with that. One, I'm not just saying, like, I'm not a proponent of just getting Lance and having a bare bones quarterback room. I think if you get Lance, you would have to bring in an Andy Dalton. And I think Andy Dalton at $3 million, if you reload your roster, like let's say you get Jimmy, D Ford, Weston Richburg off the books, and you're paying Trey Lance on the rookie scale and you're paying Andy Dalton $3 million, you know how many free agents that the 49ers could possibly sign this offseason itself? Even after signing Trent Williams, Verrett, and Fred Warner, that would open up the entire free agency to the 49ers. Like Yannick Ngakoue now, if you can get him at a $10 million price tag, he's possible. So
I'm in for Andy Dalton, for the record. I'm cool with that.
And then the other thing with Lance is I'm not.
But at the same time, though, dude, it's easy for us to say, "Hey, trade Jimmy, sign Andy Dalton." It's tough to do it, man. I'm just saying. I would from Shanahan's perspective. It's like, dude,
agree.
Take a lot of heat for that.
Right. He's in an impossible position because he's damned if you do, damned if you don't, kind of. But the thing with Lance, I'll say, and the reason I say Lance can start day one only in this specific offense is because Shanahan's already dumbed it down. He dumbed it down for Robert Griffin. He dumbed it down for shown he can do that. North Dakota's No, you're here. No. North Dakota State's concepts, we've been over this. They're applicable to the Shanahan offense, some of the staples, and from play action, he's comfortable with that. 3, I keep going back to it. This guy does throw like a quarterback, and he does have throwing talent, but he can run the ball. And imagine this run game with him, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, with that run-blocking offensive line.
Woo. Hold on. Let's back up. You don't have to be a Trey Lance expert to know that dude's going to make a grip of rookie mistakes next year because he's a rookie, okay? Going in a huge jump in competition. Are you willing to really drop 3-4 games because he's learning on the job? No, absolutely not. His team's ready to go. His team's ready to win.
Grant, 2019 Jimmy Garoppolo made a ton of rookie mistakes, and they still were able to complete 14 to 16 passes with him on bootlegs and screens and one read.
That is true, but I think you guys are a little I think you're underestimating just how green this kid's going to be. Yes, he played in a system that's similar to what the Niners do. Yes, he's a good athlete. He's going to be green. He's going to be
maybe.
Green.
I'm going to throw it to Blake on Trey Lance real quick because I don't know how much time he's watched Trey Lance. Because ultimately, making the green projection and all of that is difficult for us because we don't get to ever meet Trey Lance. We don't ever get to talk to Trey Lance. And we don't ever
I'm just saying this year, I think the only quarterback who should be starting week 1 is Lawrence. The other ones should all sit. And anyone who has to start is going to be, hey, good luck. Good luck, buddy. If it's Trask, good luck, buddy. If it's Fields, good luck, buddy. You guys should be sitting. I don't think that much of this class. It's Trevor Lawrence and everyone else.
You think
fair enough. Go ahead, Blake.
So to your point, Vish, like that's the money, kind of the money ball strategy that we touched on earlier. That in theory, right, like that's what they should do. But it's not as simple as like we can just completely abandon this and go without Garoppolo, right? Because to Grant's point, like Kyle kind of needs to put together a winning season. And like we've been saying, like even Tomlin with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges somehow went 9-7. And if you were to have 4 losing seasons in 5 years, I don't know. Like these questions would be getting asked a lot more than they already are right now. And we're still talking about, and this is pretty premature because this dude could go like 11-5 even in the NFC West and just like make us sound like idiots right now.
He hasn't proven he can win on the Niners without Garoppolo. You get rid of Garoppolo, bring in someone else, and lose. It's just open season,
right?
It's open season. It's easy. You're an easy target. Easy target. I mean, I would have to take shots. Even if I gave him the advice, it'd just be like, too easy. I got to do this.
So, Grant, do you think this is the play, though? So, like, keep Garoppolo for this year, and then if they say go like 9-7, 10-6, 11-5, whatever they go, they make the playoffs, then would you move on?
I think it's not what I would want to do. It's not. I want to get rid of Jimmy. I like Matt Ryan. I like Matt Stafford. But if they keep Jimmy, I think they think of it as kind of like 2017 Kansas City. I think that's what they're thinking. The final year of Alex Smith. And, Alex Smith either won the MVP that year or should have.
He was
like the highest rated passer.
So he was basically the MVP front runner for half the season because there was nobody playing as good as him. Yeah.
He was great. And there was nothing he could do to keep that job. And they knew it. It was like, dude, do whatever you want to do. It's Patrick Mahomes' job next year. We'll trade you. And the better you play. Or was he a free agent? I don't know what the deal was. He was gone after that year. I think the Niners kind of look at it that way.
Okay, yeah. I mean, ultimately, we got to move on. So I'm just going to wrap this up by saying, like, I think Grant's thought process is actually probably the logical thought process here. And it's probably right. It's probably the best thought process for the Niners because there's also the optics perspective of for those that still believe in Jimmy and all of that. And for those that know what Jimmy is, if Jimmy goes and flops next year and has a really rough season, they can say, well, we tried to give him a chance. We hoped he would be healthy and we could recapture 2019's magic. It didn't work. Mutually part ways and do what we're talking about the next year. Or they could get a veteran quarterback. There's still a lot to go down. Maybe
if they get Stafford or Ryan, no one's going to be crying in the Niners.
Right. Of course.
No.
And my passion as a fan was really coming out there because I really believe in Kyle Shanahan and I still love my 49ers. Well, we'll see what happens, and I'm excited to see what happens.